Hello, everyone. Welcome to part one of the Tribal Tobacco Advocacy Toolkit training. This will be the beginning of a four-part series where I will walk you through the Chunli Coalition framework and the components within the toolkit that you can use in your own tribal community to advocate for tobacco prevention, tobacco control, whether that be in the form of policy or community engagement. Welcome. My name is Ray O'Leary. I have led the Chunli Coalition since 2009 on the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. And for those that don't know, Chunli is the Lakota word for tobacco. As a group, we got together, myself and as well as about 5 other founding members back in 2009, because at that time, the state of South Dakota was passing a smoking ban, but because we're located on a reservation, which is a sovereign nation, that law would not apply. So we decided to put our heads together and come up with a way to make a policy for our own reservation to protect our tribal members from all the dangers of secondhand smoke. So that's just kind of the short version of our story. There's other versions on YouTube and that you can check out, but those are also at the bottom of the toolkit if you're looking for a link. But just to start, this one is just going to be a quick overview of kind of what to expect in the toolkit. And the next part 2, 3, and 4, we'll dig a little bit deeper into each of the 3 components that the toolkit has. So you can see at the top here, it says the purpose of the Tribal Tobacco Advocacy Toolkit is to support tribes and tribal allies. This is a customizable tool. It contains ideas as well as resources to help support you in your public health work. I should note that while our mission was to address tobacco in our tribal community, this toolkit could be used for any public health topic. It could be advocating for a breastfeeding policy or doing more education in your community around heart health. So if you don't work specifically in tobacco, that's okay. You're not in the wrong place. You can use any of the ideas and resources and tools in this toolkit as well. So the hope is from this toolkit that if lots of people from a lot of different areas are using it, that collectively we will reduce the health inequities of Native people for today's generation as well as 7 generations to come. So you can see here the Chunli Coalition framework. It's kind of small, but if you open up here, you click that enlarge button, and you can see that there's 3 sections within this toolkit. And kind of 2 overlapping circles. So on the left, you see education. In the center, you see community engagement. And to the right, you see policy. And community engagement is intentionally not its own circle because education has to have community engagement and policy has to have community engagement. So that's why it's in the center there. And then you can see each of the sections that exist within the circles. And those are the sections on the toolkit page where you can click on them and dig a little bit deeper into what the content has. You'll also notice that there's cultural lifeways and arrows that are throughout the framework. And the Chunli Coalition, when we took a look at how we do what we do and what worked, we realized that all of our activities from education in a school to our social media posts to presentations to our tribal council, they're all embedded with our cultural lifeways. If you're not a tribal member, that doesn't necessarily have to be the tribal culture. That could be whatever the culture is in your community. It could be the culture of being somebody from Boston. It could also be a culture of another race. So that's meant to be interpreted by whatever it means to you. But the main point is really taking a hard look at what do you know about your community and their values and beliefs, and how can you incorporate that into all of the programming and activities that you do. You'll also see kind of some arrows in that cultural lifeway, and these are there to show that this is a kind of a never-ending process. There's no good place to start or good place to end. It's just a continuous effort. So it might be that you just want to work on education and community engagement. You might just focus on those 2 sections to begin with. As time goes on, you might find an opportunity to kind of switch focus and work in the policy area more. And sometimes it's not necessarily your choice of where you start, but kind of what opportunities present themselves and what your individual goals are for your community. And it's also timing. You know, it might be that your community is not quite ready. Maybe your goal is to pass a policy, but the community is not quite there yet. So they need a little bit more awareness and education around the topic before you can really hit that policy section hard. So I'll just close that out to get back to the main Tribal Tobacco Advocacy Toolkit page. And then you'll see towards the bottom, each of those components are broken out in sections. The very top just has an introduction that gets a little bit deeper in the Chunley Coalition's history and methods. We'll go ahead and click on that. And this just goes through kind of in writing our story, where we come from, how we got to where we are, lessons learned, how this framework was developed, our journey and kind of a timeline, as well as the policy success that we had in a timeline, and of course our references. So that's what you get when you click on the history and methods. And then in resources and partners, what you're going to find is a bunch of links of national resources and partners that might be helpful to you if you're working in the area of tobacco or just general public health. State and regional resources and partners for the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. We're located in South Dakota, so that's our main focus. But of course, there's also like regional health boards and epicenters that you may be able to find for your area as well. And then the tribal and local resources and partners. So these aren't clickable links because they're going to be different in your community. But it's just a few ideas of maybe places to start that if you're trying to build partners to make your work more successful. These are some of the partners that we have used in the past that have been, it's been a very rewarding partnership for the Chunley Coalition. And at the bottom there, there's national tobacco events. There's 3 that we always celebrate or do events for most years, and that's the Takedown Tobacco Day. That used to be called Kick Butts Day if you've been in the tobacco field for a while. World No Tobacco Day, which is in May, and the Great American Smoke Out, which happens in November. So plenty of resources that you can navigate on your own there if you're just looking to get your feet wet in tobacco prevention and control. So then the other things you'll find on this homepage is all these blue links are clickable, and that's what we'll get into in part 2. We'll dig a little bit deeper into the content behind each of these clickable links. Part 3 will go through education, and part 4 will go through policy. Again, if you're looking maybe not for something written about the Chunley Coalition, but a little bit more of a visual history, you can watch this video at the bottom here. To hear more about our story and some of the more recent things that we've encountered here on the Cheyenne River Sioux Tribe. I'd also like to point out that if you're somebody that likes to have a printed version of documents that you can dog ear and highlight and take your own notes on, there is an option to print the toolkit in its entirety by using this Print the Toolkit button. So what you're going to do is click that. Your print dialog will pop up and you'll be able to print the entire toolkit. And I also have to mention that the Tribal Tobacco Advocacy Toolkit is located on the Find Your Power website. So if we click this logo here, that's so beautiful, we will see a whole different page that has content on, this is from the State Department of Health, and it has content on traditions and Chinchasha, of course, for the Lakota communities, information on our people and tobacco, as well as vaping, information on quitting, and ways to reach out. But you'll notice that if you land on this page, it's just findyourpowersd.com. But on any of the, anytime you're in the Find Your Power page, you'll find this link up here for the Tribal Tobacco Advocacy Toolkit. So all you have to do is click that. And our website is the findyourpowersd.com/toolkit. So hope to see you in part 2.